All right, we're live. Magnetic fields. What are magnetic fields? What has it got to do with planet Earth? You might have been listening or following some of the news information that's been spreading around, especially by Ben Davidson. I would urge you, definitely recommend you to listen to him, follow him, subscribe his channel. I mean, he's I would say, the really one of the few experts, at least, who can, condense this to, on a level that is comprehensible, solar storms, solar flares, micronova, Earth's magnetic fields are weakening, have been weakening. And I just want to, just go right into the topic. And let me show you just this thing. Sorry about that. I got to move this thing. Otherwise, anyway. So this is the magnetic field of the Earth. And as Ben Davidson says here, I think it is his own commentary, it was at near maximum strength until 1859. And by the year 2000, the magnetic field, or magnetosphere, if you want to call it, of planet Earth was down to 90% strength and down to 85% in the year 2010. So we have used, and he says, he continues, he says, we have used auroral activity and satellite issues, along with several scientific studies and subsequent geomagnetic changes, to estimate that by the year 2023, and now we have 2024, the magnetic field was down, or is down by at least 25 to 30%. So that means, which means the total strength of the magnetic field, of Earth's magnetic field, between 70 and 75%. So as you can see here, we are here, this is 2020, 2030. All right. So I guess with this purple point, he's implying, or is demonstrating that with this triggering point or precipice, or I don't know, it's some kind of, it's an acceleration point, right? So once we reach this, there will be an exponential, I would say, by orders of magnitude acceleration of Earth's magnetic fields decrease, or the decreasing or weakening of Earth's magnetic field or magnetosphere. What does it mean? It means that planet Earth is already and will be more and more, fast and faster, and by orders of magnitude more vulnerable to anything. I mean, beginning with, I don't know, solar flares, solar storms. You might have heard of the Carrington event, but the Carrington event was in the 1850s, 1870s, or something like that. But at that time, so that's here, about here, that's where the Carrington event took place, around 1850, 1870. I'm not sure exact date, but you can find it out. So the Carrington event, a lot of whatever they had, on information, on communication systems, or telegraph or telephone or whatever, everything stopped working. So the infrastructure, the information communication structure we're talking about, and now we have, like, by orders of magnitude, more advanced, satellite system, information communication systems, on Earth, in sky, on all kinds of levels. So this, we will be more vulnerable. And the point I was trying to make is that in the 1850s, 1870s, or whatever, around this time, the Earth's magnetic field was, as you can see, was at a near maximum strength. So that means the Earth was not so vulnerable as it is now, and will be more exponentially faster. Now, while the whole world and, most of humanity, I mean, it's not their fault, it's not our fault, to be honest. We are so under pressure, under stress, exploited, enslaved, by the fiat banking, financial, central banking, military, industrial, pharmaceutical, governmental, states, nation, whatever psyop complex. You know where I'm going with this, but people just don't. What I'm trying to say is that people just don't have, simply said, don't have the time, the resources, the energy to question anything. I mean, beginning, in educational system, because that's not wanted, right? They don't want, it's not wanted. They don't want kids or children, teenagers or students to question propagandized, dogmatized, indoctrinated narratives, all these, the lies that have been, just pumped into our brains, or download or uploaded into our brains, sort of. I mean, people just don't have time, right? And to do their own research, to question the narratives, the propaganda, the psyops, the false flags, the inside jobs, uh, the suppressed technologies, the hidden technologies, I mean, everything that you can think of. Now I'm going, I know, from one rabbit to another, but that's the whole point, right? We need to connect the dots and think and comprehend and process things, and questions and research and science. I mean, what is science? Science is, the essence of science is to question, right? Is to, when you find, factual evidence, more data, more, just more information, and especially when it's observable, when it's measurable, then you need to reassess, reevaluate, reinterpret everything, probably everything, pretty much everything, right? In every fucking field of science or technology. So we have a problem here. We have a real problem, and it's not even over yet. And I think if you follow Ben Davidson works on YouTube, Suspicious Observers, or on X, Twitter, under his handle name Sunweather Man. But follow his work. I mean, he's one of the few, people that can, absorb, digest, internalize, interpret. He can read lots of books and articles like in super speed time. He's got like sort of a autistic, like a genius talent skill, or where he can process things in exponentially faster than the average human being. And then, put those things together, connect the dots. Sorry for my chronic coughing. I've been having, unfortunately, for several weeks, and I'm trying to get rid of it. But yeah, so again, we have a problem here, and people are just, I don't know, just too busy, ignorant, arrogant. I don't know. It's not really, I'm not trying to be condescending or anything else, but it's just a lot of brain masturbation is going on, has been going on. And, people just are in their own, they're in the work, in their research, in their whatever, in their field of interest. And this is what I've been trying to, to tell a lot of people right now, especially on, who are, extremely intelligent, investigative, researchers, journalists, insiders, whistleblowers, scientists, engineers, inventors. Please get together. The time is ticking, tick, 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 and it's ticking faster and faster. So we need to sit together. I'm just a regular guy, who's I've done, a lot of research. I've even done my, in a very special field of law, product liability. I did like at least 15 years of research in totality. Within the once secret or confidential internal documents of the Tobacco Industry Cigarette Corporation. I went to the United States, Germany, other countries, met with insiders, whistleblowers, and I wrote my PhD, my thesis on the product liability of the cigarette corporations, rooted in the internal documents of the Tobacco Industry Cigarette Corporations, based on the testimonies or inside information, where I had at least was able to connect the dots, to look within the millions and tens of millions, or maybe even 50, 100 millions of documents. Otherwise, I couldn't have, had the time, to because there were codes, and I'm just trying to tell you that it needs a lot of energy, So really, kudos to all these people out there, investigative journalists such as Whitney Webb, Ashton Forbes, Ben Davidson, who really sit down and put a lot of, heart, soul, energy, blood, sweat, resources, time, while having, taking care of family and taking care of existential things, surviving and living and, feeding your family. And so these people, not only believe, they know, they trust in their calling, in their mission. This is what they do. But what I'm trying to do, what I intend to do, is to bring all these people together, because each one of those people, I mean, whoever that is, Ben Davidson, Whitney Webb, Ashton Forbes, Scott Ritter, with his geopolitical, whatever background, military insiders, I'm talking about ethical people, not people, who are on the fucking satanic, evil side, and who just want to, exploit and enslave and hurt and, and kill other people, or I don't know, or reduce the population. I mean, the things that are just been going on. I mean, just look at all this whole whatever, bioweapon injection thing, COVID or whatever. God, you can't even say the word. I mean, it's otherwise they censor you. This is mind-boggling. It's fucking mind-boggling. The censorship, the systemic, censorship, everything. So and I'm reaching out to you, every one of you. I mean, try to help me do something. You can do your part, do a tweet, post it, share this video with your friends, with your family, make your own personal comment, or reshare it with a quote, with a post, with some kind of text, and, tag, all the whatever prominent podcasters, if you want, from Joe Rogan to Tucker Carlson, I don't care, anybody. I mean, I still have my reservation about, the one and the other podcaster, because they either are, I don't know, it's sort of it seems to me sometimes limited hangout, psyop. They're scared, threatened, intimidated, and they got this, financial independence, especially Joe Rogan. I mean, he's built an empire, the guy, is probably swimming in a pool of, I mean, a lot of money, right? It's often, and then you've got your own family. I mean, I understand. I'm just saying. I mean, I understand. I comprehend. I feel total empathy with the people, who, especially in discussions with some insiders, whistleblowers, experts. They don't dare to, I don't know, ask the right questions, or they just, they just go around the curvature and like, hey, you're almost there. You're almost there. Why don't you ask a question? Either, actively, passively, they just don't go into the topic, or into the they don't focus. They're not pinpointing. I don't know. Maybe they're just scared, afraid to, speak the obvious, articulate the obvious, whatever that is, the systemic genocide, or systemic, I don't know, child trafficking, systemic assassinations, systemic suppression, and compartmentalization of existing super advanced technology. I mean, forget all this, alien crap, reversal. I mean, I'm talking about technologies that been developed, tested, and produced, right? Made at least within the last 75, 80 years, right? If not, okay, let's just say in the last few decades, I mean, we could literally travel from one star to another, from one planet to another. Just because the problem is, that I see, is that just because people cannot imagine things, doesn't mean it cannot exist, let alone comprehend, and that's the way it is, right? And I don't know, there's just so much indoctrination and brainwashing been going on for everybody, I guess, right? I mean, for nearly everybody from starting in kindergarten, in I don't know, in the family environment, your whole environment, kindergarten, school, and then you go to college, university, and then the media, and then who writes the books, who dictates what's inside the book. It doesn't matter, with its history or science, physics, chemistry. I mean, I had super grades. I had super grade point average in school or university, but does it mean I'm super smart, clever? I do question. No, nothing. I mean, it's not wanted. They don't want you to question things. That's the problem. That's the way it starts. Sorry about that, but so we need to start questioning everything now, and we don't have much time. If you follow, for example, the work of Ben Davidson, you understand. You begin to understand. I mean, just go on. Let me just show you on where is it? Where's let me just show you here. All right, let me show you the channel of. All right, you gotta just just watch some of these super short documentaries, or there's some of them really short, like 15, 16, 17 minutes by Ben Davidson. This is his YouTube channel. Please subscribe, follow his work. He's on Sun Weatherman on Twitter or X, but on YouTube it's Suspicious Observers. Just do your homework. I mean, this is what he says. He's sometimes pretty salty, especially on live stream, when people ask him, just super like the questions, they're repeating over and over again. So he always says, hey, you know what? Please go do your damn homework. And I've done this myself. So I did it, and I have the bigger picture now, right? I mean, I don't understand every fucking detail, but I understand, the Earth disaster cycle. I understand what solar forms, solar flares, solar storms, geomagnetic excursions, micronova, and especially the ever increasing weakening of Earth's magnetic field. It started in 1850, but as I showed you, right? As I showed you on this graph, again, this is given by, with credit goes to Ben Davidson. It's been weakening exponentially faster. So we are down to, we got the year 2024, so around, I don't know, 70%, 75%. And once we reach 2030, it will even be more, even by orders of magnitude faster. As you can see, it's like I don't know, it's just on a 90 degrees angle, right? It just goes down. And then what does it mean? It means once this triggering point is reached, the tipping point, whatever you want to call it, I mean, it's Earth. It's just planet. It's a speck of dust. I mean, we think the problem is we as a human being, as humanity, as a human species on this planet Earth, we think we own everything. And we think we're so fucking important. We're a speck of a dust. I mean, just looking at the solar system, our own, sort of our solar system, and the galactical arm, just the galactical arm of the galaxy we're within. Now, the thing is that's been going on for eons, whatever, thousands, hundred thousands, millions, billions of years. The problem is, if you look at it, and astrophysicists will tell you that, right? So the planet Earth was down there somewhere on the wider angle of the galactical arm of the galaxy we still are, right? But the thing is, we have been sucked faster and faster into the direction of the core of the galactical arm, right? So we are within one galactical arm. The problem is the pressure is gaining, more and more momentum, and it's increasing the magnetical, as we should correctly say, the magnetical and gravitational forces have been and are increasing by orders of magnitude. So this is why we're not down there anymore. We are already somewhere, much higher into the galactical arm of the galaxy. So everything is changing, everything is transforming. So this is on top of that, right? Now, I'm not going to even talk about, it's just a total bigger and different, can of worms, the universal transformations. But I'm just talking about our solar system, and that the fact that the planet Earth is being sucked faster and faster into the spiral arm of the, into this more and more into the center of the galactical arm, which not only our solar system but other solar systems are located within. So everything. Now, I don't want to even go into the spiritual aspects or whether it's coincidence or not or whatever, but I do find it, if you think about it, if you really contemplate about it, if you really meditate on it, everything has been going on right now within the last months and years and decades. It just, everything, especially everything is satanic, evil, and really, genocidal and systemic child trafficking, systemic, pedophilia, killings, rape, war, destruction, exploitation, enslavement. Whatever you can think of, it's just so beyond imagination, so beyond comprehension that sometimes I'm thinking, maybe it has to be, maybe it must be, maybe there's a reason somehow, a cosmic, spiritual, creator-rooted, incentive or reason or essence why all these processes also are accelerating by orders of magnitude, faster and faster, beginning, with the weakening, which we can measure, which we can see, which we can, there is even much more studies which have been, with the astrophysicists. Now besides the scientists and everything and technologists, we're going to talk about that maybe later, right? Because that would be the solution. And what if I tell you we have the solution to create, and let's call it an artificially created magnetosphere, a magnetic field around the Earth, so we can protect ourselves, from these immense, super strong, solar storms that's gonna just knock out and destroy everything. Beginning, with all the information, communicate, everything that makes your life easy, cheesy, convenient, comfortable, beautiful, gone. That'll be gone. The moment, you can't flush your toilet because everything is, connected. We need energy, right? And while, I'm a Bitcoiner and a Bitcoin Maximum, I'm educator, a podcaster, because I truly believe in the future, in the only root solution of Bitcoin for, a normally functioning, working human civilization, human species. But for that to function, we need the fundamental, root, basis, foundation, and that is the communication information system. I've been trying, to, I don't know, to trigger discussion, the debate or something, a conversation with the people who have been building, are building, beginning with Adam Beck, to every other Bitcoiner I know out there. But there seems hardly just a couple of, people I know, Bitcoin space, but the people who could, roll this conversation, because it's existential. What the fuck are you going to do when you don't have any information communication systems like that? And it's gone. And I'm talking permanently. Because until, we reset our civilization, and the reality is, unless we bring out, we disclose, we release, I don't know, we somehow get rid, and obsolete, and I don't know, and get rid, just get rid of all these evil people who are in control of the fiat central banking, military, industrial, pharmaceutical, financial, state, governmental complex, and bring out the technologies, we are doomed. I mean, this is the reality of truth. This is the reality we got to face. And we are 8.5 billion people and around, and that's not my estimates. I'm not sucking it out of my fingers. I think these are even Ben Davidson's and other experts' estimates and assessments. 75, 80, maybe even more, 85, 90% of Earth's population, of Earth's civilization will be gone. They will be gone. I mean, you got to face that. Now, the thing is, if we didn't have a child, a beautiful cosmic daughter, or maybe like you might have children, you wouldn't probably give a fuck, right? You would just say, you know what? Fuck it, take me. I mean, if you are spiritually strong, if you truly, if you understand, comprehend the essence of creation, the essence of your soul, the essence of universe, of cosmos, I'm not talking about fucking esoterics, all these pseudo spiritual people. I'm talking about like, connecting the factual reality, the reality of truth with science, with reality, with with emotions, with your soul, would it be, your spiritual soul, your physical soul? I mean, with the creator, right? Then, you just have a different perspective, position. But the thing is, everything changes. When you have children, you do want them, to be on this planet Earth. It's a beautiful planet. I mean, look at it, right? Let's be honest with one another. It's a fucking beautiful planet. It's a gorgeous planet. It's unique. And, look what they've done to this, to human civilization, to humanity, to human. I mean, there's so much pain and suffering. We could have so much abundance. This is why I'm such a big fan, by the way, of Jeff Booth. Why deflation is the key to an abundant future. I mean, he's a total Bitcoin maximalist by now, and I've tried, in our conversations I've had him on, several times, but I'm trying to, open it up a little bit. But the thing is, I mean, I know that he just doesn't know, or he can't know, he cannot prove it, or he cannot touch it. But the thing is, he knows there's a military industrial complex, corporate, and of course, all these entities or whatever, few people, it's really literally of just a few people, whether it be tens or hundreds, it doesn't matter. I mean, with, of 8.5 billion, and they control in a very, very, evil, satanic, and compartmentalized way. This is why so many, right? I mean, you probably don't know, but this is why, a lot of people have been, dropped dead, scientists, engineers, inventors, brilliant people, dropped dead, in very specific circumstances. Alone, I think in Belgium, it's like 120, 130 people trying to patent something. So, don't fucking try to patent something. Just open sources, bring it out in the open, and voila. Don't try, you will get your very, very fair compensation. I mean, the human species, human beings are very appreciative. They're very grateful. Their nature. It's not like, forget all these, talks about like, human nature is bad and blah, blah, blah. No, we need to create the fucking conditions, the environmental conditions, the monetary conditions. This is why Bitcoin is such a beautiful money information it's a store of value, medium exchange, unit of account, and has every property we could ever think of, that we could ever dreamt of, right? Peer-to-peer, decentralized, unconfiscatable, absolutely limited, absolutely scarce with 21 million, and every Bitcoin, you don't need a whole Bitcoin, right? You don't need to buy a whole Bitcoin. A Bitcoin has 100 million Satoshis, right? And Jesus, there are still people thinking, oh my God, if I I mean, just the pizza comparison, right? If you slice up into tiny molecular atomic size particles, the pizza is a pizza, is one pizza. It doesn't, it's not it's not gonna grow in the amount or in the mass or anything. It just you just have smaller and smaller pieces. But the thing is, going back to Bitcoin, every unit or subunit will have exponentially by orders of magnitude more purchasing power. So technology, as Jeff Wood says, is essentially within its roots deflationary. That means, I mean, look at it, right? We got this mobile phone, right? I mean, look at it, what kind of tools you have on it. And all these technologies, I mean, a lot of these technologies have become cheaper and cheaper and more efficient and better and more advanced and everything. What if I told you we could have that on every fucking level and dimension you can imagine? Energy, transportation, healing, medicine, whatever you want to call it. Fun, space travel. We could literally, yes, we can. And I am definitely sure, but that's a totally different can of worms. We used to live much, much longer. But anyway, forget about it. Just forget about it that I said that. But we can. We have the technology. We have the knowledge and the wisdom and intelligence. Sorry about that. My cough. To evolve. Beginning with our DNA, our information carrier, to our, transforming our physicality, every cell, every, whatever, DNA, right? What is DNA, right? It's the elements, right? I mean, but then if you go deeper, it's not just carbon and, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen, blah, blah, but it's just a name of an, right? Of an element, of a particle, of an energy pack. So if you go deep into that, you go into plasma. So this is why I want to talk about magnetic fields, because it's the time. It's overdue, and I think people, the kids, especially in school, should start question everything they've learned. Unfortunately, I did that at a very late point in my life, right? That's the unfortunate thing. I woke up very, very late, but I still did. I mean, I started, by questioning cigarettes, and 57 different parameters, beginning with addictive, enhancing technologies, additives, filtration. I mean, 57 different parameters determine how and how much, a cigarette is addictive and addictive enhancing, right? Boosting this is what the cigarette industry, found out within the last, 50 or whatever years, right? How toxic and DNA damaging and all these properties, right? So you question and question, you go from one rabbit to another, and then you go into maybe ethnopharmacology, into what is addictive, what are what is natural, what is artificial, what is addictive, what is non-addictive but psychedelic, right? What neuroplasticity, which increases the neuroplasticity, right? So you go from one field, one fucking rabbit hole to another. And this is where it begins, your comprehension process begins to enlighten, right? So, I read a bunch of books about, and especially from a nuclear engineer, but I don't want to mention his name because it's, for a specific reason. But the guy's nuclear engineer, and I'm in that point, in one aspect, I'm totally convinced. This nuclear engineer I'm talking about is, developed the principle of gravity, or magnetic-gravitational forces, or field strength, in Iran. Now, I know it's a lot of to digest, to swallow for a lot of people, okay? And you don't need, don't take me at my word and just do your own research. It just, of course, it's not going to be in your face, the truth, the facts, factual evidence or whatever. But I think in due time, everything will just come out, right? Not only Iran, right? And as I said to Ashton Forbes, whom I really love his work, I really respect and love his work and his dedication and his mission and his ethos. You should definitely follow him. But and I told him, bring these people together. It's not only like compartmental like USA. Like we have to try to bring all these experts, who are willing, to at least in some way, anonymously, pseudonymously, publicly, whatever, insiders, whistleblowers, experts, engineers, inventors. These are the people, I mean, who have been and are being silenced, threatened, intimidated, forced to sign a non-disclosure agreement on a military contract, whatever, or, suicided, killed, and they threaten. I mean, these people, these entities we're talking about, they have no fucking, mercy, no fucking empathy, whatever. I mean, these people are just so fucking satanic evil. And we need to simultaneously bring this out, open source, everything. And not only me, but thousands, 10,000s, 100,000, millions of people out there. We just need a critical mass. All right. So this is going to be, I'm going to make it as short as possible. I'm going to just jump over some paragraphs, but I think it's important. And it's called, the title is sort of the unified or unifying field theory. And so it's about the origin of, because a lot of people, can associate with this, are familiar with electromagnetism, electromagnetic fields, electromagnetism, how they created, and within the existence of the other magnetic fields. And I will try somehow to interpret or explain it in my words, maybe some of these passages, some of these paragraphs. So, when a magnetic field is created, the creation, right, of magnetic field, and it has an interaction with physical matter, right? So everything, right? We are on planet Earth. We are pretty physical, right? We're totally obsessed with physicality and matter, right? So this interaction with physical matter or other fields, right, always leads to release of electromagnetic fields or energy equal to the energy of an electron, right? And you're familiar with electron. We all grew up in school, learned about electron, but we never questioned. I mean, I never asked the professor, like, hey, professor, I mean, what is electron really? What is it? What is it? What does it come from? What's the origin? What is it made of? How is it created? Anyway, so in the universe, energy equal to energy of an electron, where there are no matters for magnetic fields to interact with, for electromagnetism to be created or to be released. So in these environments, electromagnetic fields do still exist and function. Now, electromagnetic fields or electron energy does not to be created by interaction of magnetic fields and matters as like in generators, like of present time. As in the universe, electromagnetism is constantly produced due to the difference of the magnetic field strength between two fields, and without presence of any matter of physical interaction of fields fields and matters, right? So now, because of that, because of the development of gravitational systems and having the ability to create different strength plasmatic magnetic fields within gravitational reactors or reactor cores, with the capability of being able to create and maintain different magnetic field strengths in different parts of reactors, where these fields are continuous and can be kept at a given constant strength level, that their difference in strength in fields can be equal to the magnetic field strength of an electron, where electromagnetic current flow can be maintained from one magnetic field to another due to the field strength difference. Now, hold on a little, okay? Just bear with me a little bit. Everything will just, it'll just, you know, it will enlighten yourself. You'll see. So this has enabled us to create and maintain energy field or electric magnetic field strength of an electron in a plasma reactor without an electron being present or in motion within these reactors. Now, where electromagnetic fields are produced, you know, the production, right, of electromagnetic fields can be achieved by the simple creation of two magnetic fields. Now, this is important. With different magnetic field strength of an electron, that as fields are down-leveled from one magnetic field strength to another, one can create a flow of magnetic field equal to magnetic field strength of an electron. Thus, the creation of electromagnetic current or production of flow of electromagnetism can be achieved. Now, where electromagnetism or current of magnetic fields of an electron can be created at any level of magnetic field strength, as long as a strength level difference between two fields in magnetic fields exists, and where in plasmatic magnetic fields, the strength level difference of the fields causes the flow of magnetic fields from one field strength to another can be caused of what is called commonly electromagnetic field flow, which can be maintained. Now, therefore, we can have electromagnetic fields of any strength. This being matter. Now, what is, you know, called antimatter is actually sort of a essence, principal matter, or dark matter. People love talk about dark matter, but it's actually transition matter, right? Between two other field strengths of matter and principle, right? Matter and essence is a transition. This is the dark matter. As long as the magnetic field strength difference between two field strengths is equal to the magnetic field strength of an electron or magnetic fields of matters of an electron. Now, sorry about that. Or the magnetic field strength that can affect the motion of other fields to be equal to the magnetic field strength of an electron. Then at this stage, one achieves the electromagnetic current, thought, flow of magnetic fields from one stronger to the weaker field, which the magnetic field strength of the flow is equal to the magnetic field of an electron. Now, let's talk about electromagnetism, just, you know, sort of an excursion. In the real world, right, of electromagnetism, in the real world of existence, all matters do not have boundaries as tangible matters do, but the boundaries are dictated and created through the space they cover through and by the dynamic magnetic field effects, where this space of effect of the magnetic field is called the environmental plasma or environment of plasma of these fields. So it's important, the environmental conditions, right? Thus, when we speak of plasma or plasma of an electron, proton, or neutron, what we talk about here is the space and environment where the effects of these magnetic fields of the total structure and the entity of, for example, an electron can cover. Thus, an electron is in fact nothing but a space in an environment which the total effects of all magnetic fields of all matters and fields can be detected or be contained in. Now, to this end, when an entity possesses magnetic field strength equal to total magnetic field strength of an environment within the plasma of an electron, then this entity is in possession of mixture of dynamic magnetic fields of an electron, or this entity has magnetic field strength measure of an electron, or what is called, it possesses electromagnetic fields. Now, where there's space being in possession of magnetic fields, by its nature has to interact with other magnetic fields and entities made of magnetic fields in its surrounding, where these interactions can be attraction, right, gravitation, or repulsion, magnetic or magnetical. Now, this is why the direction of motion of this space of fields or electromagnetic fields is totally dependent on other magnetic fields within its environment, which their environments, total strength in gravitation and repulsion, dictates the direction of the motion of the plasma of an electron magnetic fields. Now, it is important to understand that the structure of an electron, in fact, is a plasma. And it is like the plasma of a proton, but in a smaller scale in the mass compared to proton. What does it mean? It means a plasma has all the magnetic field strength, meaning matter, antimatter, what people call is actually principal or essence matter, right? Principal matter, and transition matter, which they call dark matter. It's the same thing. Whether you're calling it electron, proton, neutron, it's a package. It's a plasmatic, spherical, if you can imagine, a spherical entity, ball. But now this is where I do a very exotic excursion, but when it travels, it adapts to the environment and it becomes a Fiji arrow. As the environmental conditions, because it needs to travel by infinite, by orders of magnitude faster and faster with no friction whatsoever. So that means it changes its shape and form. Now we're going to come back to this later, you know. All right. Of course, you know, and then we have, of course, fragments, and then we have the light, the structure of the light, but that's a totally different chapter now, all right? Thus, the electron is and has the structure of a proton or a neutron, actually, and similarly possesses all its three states of matters: matter, antimatter, which is principal matter, and dark matter, which is transition matter. And its content is proportional to its neutron plasma prior to its decay into two plasmas of the proton and electron. As electron is made of electromagnetic field strength of varying strength, this being the reason why its current and its flow can be influenced by other magnetic fields, as magnetic fields of different strength do influence each other's path of motion and speed of motion in different matters and matter's environment. Where at the same time and by the same principle, the dynamics, or if you want to call it the orbits of the electron around its proton is due to the continuous repositioning, right? Now we're going to come back, you know, especially when Ashton Forms talks about these orbs, you know, in the videos, you see these orbs, right, in a triangular sort of a star formation. And then the fourth one, you know, for the directional, you know, vortex, whatever. It's a different chapter, but you're going to start connecting the dots, you know, once you're into this research. So the continuous repositioning, the alternating attraction and repulsion of the smaller matter parts of the electron in respect to the large matter's magnetic field of the proton. This being the reason why the trajectory of the electron is said to be uncertain. Now, where by the same principle, the magnetic field source of all matters and their different magnetic field strength is the cause and the sources of all effects and matters we observe in the universe. Now, this nuclear engineer I'm talking about, who, you know, wrote also these articles and these books and developed, right, and created the principle of gravity, or falsely called anti-gravity. And that's what he says. He says it's not anti-gravity. It just, especially you create a specific condition of magnetic gravitational field strength. Anyway, so how the gravity is created through interaction of two or more. This is very important. What is gravity? What are gravitational forces? How is it created? What's the origin? So the gravity is created through interaction of two or more magnetic fields, and how mass is the measure of difference between gravitational fields and magnetic fields created by the interaction of the same two or more magnetic fields. Thus, even mass is magnetic field strength dependent too. Further, the relation between mass and energy, which both are magnetic field strength dependent and has been, explained numerous times, energy is the measure of the mass and the rate of its speed of transfer in its own matter's medium. This being matter, antimatter, which is principal matter, and dark matter, which is transition matter, from one magnetic field strength to another, depending upon attraction or a gravitational strength from one magnetic field to another, where this speed is magnetic field's orders of magnitudes strength dependent. Where transmutation from one magnetic field strength of matter to another, like from matter to antimatter, which is transition matter, from matter to principal matter or antimatter, which what they call, can lead to creation of current or electromagnetism within the given environment of the same plasma itself too. In fact, in the universe, one has proton magnetic field current flows or protomagnetism too. This current is the flow of magnetic fields to another, which are equal to a magnetic field strength of one proton. These magnetic fields are basis of the cosmic magnetic field storms and have more profound effects on the structural integrity of the galaxy than the weaker counterparts, electromagnetic fields. Further, now we understand the concept of plasma of an electron, and even by the same principle, one can understand the principal structure of the plasma of the proton, and by the same measure of the plasma of the neutron. Hence, in the universe, we have observed plasmas of neutrons in motion, which these have the same ability as electromagnetism and protomagnetism in motion, and these are called the neutral magnetism or neutron magnetism, where these are the space in the universe which carry magnetic field strength equal to the strength of magnetic fields of all matters and fields which make the structure of an entity a neutron. In fact, what is called a neutron star, these in reality do not possess neutrons, but these stars emitted magnetic field strength in the range of magnetic gravitational fields of neutron. Hence, tangibility of the neutron becomes later on as they disassociate themselves from the other fields in the environment, and at this point they create dynamic space or environment, or what we call plasma of the neutron, where these magnetic fields can exercise the influences on other fields within the surrounding. Now, further to this explanation, one can simply understand that in the matter world, or in the magnetic field strength of matter, the gravitation and repulsion between these magnetic fields are in the level of matter magnetic field strength of electron, proton, or neutron. Hence, this is why in the matter world, like in solid magnets, right? Magnetic or magnetism or attraction or gravitation is the attraction between the magnetic field strength of matter components of the plasma of electron, proton, or neutron of that matter. Thus, this being the reason why in the physical world, certain matters are attracted to each other, that they make certain types of molecules or physical matters, right? Now, chemistry, right, makes more sense. Where the attraction of atoms to make up any matter it is entirely magnetic gravitational strength dependent and no other factor. Magnetical, and gravitational field strength dependent and no other factor. So you're starting to just sleep on it, just think about it. It'll start, you start connecting the dots, and the enlightenment will come. For me, came a long time ago, but for me, in essence, it was always important, to understand the bigger picture, the essence of it, the root. Whether you talk about Bitcoin or creation or plasma or spaceships or whatever, right? Or teleportation or warp drive or whatever, right? What's the source? What's the origin? How do you connect the dots? Now, where these attractions or gravitation of atoms or molecules in respect to each other, on other hand, is environmental magnetic field dependent too. This being the reason why we can observe certain matters in one environment and not in the others. This being due to the fact that the environments themselves are made of, are created, or are conditioned due to interaction and magnetic gravitational fields of other magnetic fields. Now let's talk for short moments, because it's more tangible, about permanent magnets. Sometimes in the future, there will come more and more information, in books about this, but by this nuclear engineer, which I'm sort of quoting most of the time. So it is, and it will become clear, about the universal origin of magnetic fields, how magnetic fields are generated, how plasmatic and specific matters magnetic fields exist in different dimensions, right? So in simple terms, the matter magnetic field of what we call permanent solid magnets are monomagnetic field strength, which are at the levels of the matter components of the plasma of an electron, which are in sequence with the plasmatic magnetic field matters of the proton of their element. Now, what this means is that when plasmatic magnetic field of the matter component of an atom's proton and electron field strength become interconnected and in field balance, then a continuous field between the matter fields of the proton and electron is set to operate, where in the case of, for example, iron at Earth magnetic and gravitational field strength, this connection is said to be holding and hence creating a permanent magnet, right? So just keep it in the back brain, the environmental conditions, right? Now, this is why, as one establishes interconnection between electron and proton internal field strength, then due to the more of supply from the proton, then the matter stays in one field strength for indefinite time. Now, the reason being, for example, why magnetic fields in level of the water molecules do not have strength to attract, for example, copper atoms gravitational level, but can attract other water molecules. In fact, iron will not be magnetic as it is on Earth in most of positions in the universe. This being due to the fact that even permanent magnetic properties or characteristics of all matter are their environmental and magnetic gravitational strength dependent. This is why the permanent magnetic in solar system, it's no similarly the same as in other solar systems or galaxies, right? Secondly, magnetic fields or plasmatic magnetic fields are independent of matter, but dependent of magnetic fields or of magnetic gravitational fields of the matter, antimatter, which is principal matter, and dark matter, which is transition matter, of plasma, of electron and proton too. But at the same time, it is important to understand that to have long-term or permanent magnets, the antimatter or principal matter components of the plasmas have to and are positioned that they establish a continuous field between the other antimatter or principal matter component of the atoms of the same matters too. Now, what is the difference between conductors and superconductors? Now, the present world of physics has a sort of a dilemma with the fundamental principles of conductors and superconductors. Now, where this should not be so, if scientists could understand the real-term difference between the current flow of electron and current flow of magnetic field flux equal to the magnetic field strength of an electron. What this means is that in conductors, sorry, excuse me, in conductors, the motion of or vibration equal to or vibration of an electron causes the flow of current in the matter. Whereas in superconductors, it is not the flow of the electron or the vibration of an electron that causes the flow of the current, but current flow is caused by the flow of electromagnetic field strength equal to magnetic field strength of an electron, which flows through the material. Where in the case of superconductors, there is no need for vibration or motion of matter. As with superconductors, the same magnetic field strength equal to the magnetic field of an electron flows through the superconductor materials. You see where this is going? Where in the case of superconductors, the lattice boundary of molecules or atoms are so closely and perfectly packed that the electromagnetic flows through the lattice structure without a need for vibration of the electrons of the atoms or molecules of that structure. In fact, one can say that the same electromagnetic field, which starts from one end of the superconductor itself, will be traveling out of the other end of the superconductor, irrespective of the length of the material of the superconductor. In the case of conductors, vibration of electron needs kinetic energy and hence loses, where in the case of superconductors, the structure of the material is so that no electron moves, but the material has the ability to transfer the electromagnetic field strength equal to an electron magnetic field strength. Hence, this is why literally no kinetic move, no friction, no resistance, and no loss. Wow. Got it? That's key to understanding. The superconductivity of the matter is lattice position structure dependent. And this is usually better observed in SP3 is called, or diamond structured materials. Now, in conductors, in so-called normal conductors, electrons have to move, vibrate, right? And in superconductors, magnetic field strength equal to magnetic field strength of an electron needs to be transmitted. And as there's no physical motion of matters within the superconductor, thus there are no losses. This resulting in exponentially faster transmission of magnetic fields without losses. Now, I'm going to skip the chapter, or the discussion about current and impedance, because it goes a little bit, it's a little bit too much for this session, for this video. And about experimental point observation, but I'm going to go do a sort of a summary, right? Sort of a conclusion, right? A bigger picture. Now, the electric charges, magnetic field and gravitational fields are all of the same and of one origin, where the gravity is due to pulling effect of two dissimilar poles of the same plasmatic magnetic fields interactions, and magnetic fields and magnetic field, and the magnetic field is due to repulsion of two similar magnetic poles, and electric current is due magnitude of the flow of magnetic field from one field to another. Thus, this is why the grand the big unifying or unifying field theory is the magnetic field, the essence. And the missing link has been to understand that gravity is the product of interaction of two plasmatic magnetic fields. Mass is the difference between the magnetic field strength of similar and dissimilar field strength. Gravity and magnetosphere forces strength of the book. It says here, there's a book about it, and the energy is the measure of the magnetic field that is transferred between magnetic fields at the speed that magnetic field can travel within a given matter's medium for it to be able to move from one magnetic field strength to another. And the electromagnetic current is the rate. Think of it as a speed, maybe. And the electromagnetic current is the rate of movement of the magnetic field from one field to another, and where the electromagnetic field is due to magnetic field strength difference and is the equal to the magnetic field strength of an electron. Thus, the unified and common field, the essence, is the magnetic field between the gravity, mass, energy, and electromagnetic field. Thus, the unifying field theory, the unifying theory for the first time, is complete, and it is now comprehended, understood, right? Where magnetic field interactions makes the gravitational fields and the flow magnetic field from one field to another creates the electromagnetic current. Energies can be created from any ambient, depending on what wants to produce or obtain from these currents of fields. Electromagnetism is created as magnetic field strengths are transferred from one field strength to another, and in the process of the flow of magnetic fields, this leads to creation of measurable field movement or measurable current from what is called electromagnetic fields. This simple sentence brings the whole of comprehension of understanding between magnetic fields and the flow, and its flow from one magnetic field strength to another, and is the grand link, the huge link between the gravity, the mass, and energy, and this concludes the long-lasting missing link of the unifying field theory. Unifying field, the magnetic field. Now one can understand that current is the rate or speed of flow of magnetic field from one strength to another, and the connection between electromagnetism, gravity, mass, and energy is now finally understood. Thus, the origin of all things tangible and their effects is magnetic field rooted. And magnetic fields are the origin of all and unifying field in the world of creation. Now, the thing is, I mentioned in the beginning the suppressed technologies, right? Systematically within the, controlled by the central banking, fiat, financial, military, industrial corporation complex, right? Extremely secretive, extremely compartmentalized. Now, whether they're partially, at least, whether they have had this, at least the principal technologies from so-called extraterrestrial, interterrestrials, aliens, through reverse engineers, or the Hitler's, Nazi scientists, they've done a lot of things, right? They had geniuses scientists. The guy who worked with water, I forgot his name. Sorry, I got a blackout right now, but it'll come back to me. But probably you'll probably find him out. So, and it's been ongoing, right? Not only, for at least 75, 80 years. So the principles I just explained to, just for the purpose of understanding, comprehending, connecting the dots, to understand what is the unifying field, and this is the magnetic field. What is the essence and origin of gravity or gravitational force? It is the magnetic field or magnetic fields, right? The interaction, repulsion. the pulling, the repulsion, right? What is electromagnetism? What is matter? What are the different matters, magnetic gravitational field strength? What is an electron, proton, neutron? All this is, I think, important and essential to, introduce yourself, introduce all ourselves, into the realm, into the world, into the dimension of comprehending these, almost, I mean, nearly, because we cannot imagine, because most people cannot imagine, let alone comprehend, because it's all like super magic and it's all, oh, woo woo. And no, but we need to understand what, and once we understand the principle, the essence, and the creation of magnetic fields, then everything makes sense. Then spirituality, the creator, the creation, your soul, your physicality, your emotions, energy in motion, and all the spectrum of light, right? I know, David Icke, marketed himself very bad from the very beginning, 25, 30 years ago. But now he's really good at it. He starts off by showing you the light spectrum. What can you see within the huge, lengthy or whatever big, huge spectrum of light? You see only a spectrum with our eyes, because this is what our eyes, of course, connected to our brain, and the essence of our soul is within that vacuum, that pea-sized hole. People talk about pineal gland, and still, it's still matter, it's still physicality, but there's a hole right inside, and this is where we start, understanding, oh, aha, right? Especially when you are in a different dimension, consciousness, right? Psychedelic, as they call it, or different magnetic gravitational field strength, observation, consciousness, thinking, processing, observing, absorbing, right? Sending out. What do you think only our eyes absorb? No, they also send out. So this is why it adjusted. It is adapted to the magnetic and gravitational field strength of our, right, planet, Earth, environment, right? So everything will make more and more sense. And then eventually, faster and faster, exponentially, by orders of magnitude, the process will accelerate, and we understand, oh my God, oh my creator, maybe we were able, maybe a very, 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 very long time ago, we had those powers, we had those capabilities rooted within our information carrier, again, created out of magnetic fields, right? Or magnetic and gravitational field strength. So if you go deeper into your DNA, I know I'm jumping from one rabbit hole to another, from one Alice in Wonderland to another, but this is important. This is essential. Try to stay focused and try to see and feel and comprehend the much, much bigger picture simultaneously in synchronicity. Because once you go into, yes, physicality, biology, chemistry, physics, psychopharmacology, proteins, amino acids, right? DNA, right? But then if you go deeper and deeper into the nucleus, and then you talk about, things we never understood, we never questioned, we never asked, we never fucking understood anything about it, right? What is an electron? What is a proton? What is a neutron? What is the nucleus of a neutron? Then you understand, then you begin to understand, to comprehend the bigger picture. Magnetic fields. And then, even without psychedelics, even without DMT, without magic mushroom or psilocybin or, I don't know, ayahuasca or whatever, even without all that, maybe in a more sober, maybe in a more, smooth, traditional process, you begin to comprehend, maybe you even begin to, because It is magnetic fields, your emotions, your feelings, your consciousness. Whether you meditate or not, you think, you dream, you wake up, you give, you love, you absorb, you give more, you absorb more, you love more, you receive more. And finally, you begin to comprehend the essence of creation, the essence of creator, the essence of magnetic fields, and then gravity, and then gravitational, and then, universes, galaxies, cosmos, essence, non-physicality. And then you begin losing fear. You always hear Ben Davidson in the end, but, he's got his own, spiritual journey. I know that. I just know that, right? But it would be really interesting to have a really deep dive discussion with him or with Ashton Forbes, because I think in one of his posts, I can't pull it up now, but if you go on, if you go on Ashton Forbes, all right, he's got one of his latest posts. He starts talking about spirituality, and this is where I'm like, okay, now he's at the point where he starts, to really, begin to connect the dots, to begin to think and understand and comprehend and feel much more holistically. But I can't find it. Ashton Forbes, his Twitter handle is just X Ashton. He's also following me since recently, but we'll see. We'll see. I want to have a really deep dive, holistic, interconnected with other, few, let's say, selected investigative, researchers, scientists, journalists, insiders, whistleblowers. I can't find it right now, but it's okay. I can't find. But he starts talking about the spiritual aspect of everything he's been, disseminating and spreading information in the interviews, the talks, the conversations he's had. He does an extremely brilliant job. Amazing, the guy. I really love this guy. So I'm trying to bring all these people together: Ashton Forbes, Ben Davidson. Who knows? Joe Rogan. I mean, real people. The dark journalist. What's his name? List, something like that. Like Daniel List, I think is called, dark journalist. I mean, these are people who know their shit, right? Who know their stuff. I know my shit too, but I'm the more like holistic, like understanding, comprehending the bigger picture, connecting the dots, connecting the people. And, I feel that the accelerating time process, the acceleration, you can see, you can observe it literally. And this is what I'm saying, people, wake up, right? Please wake up, share this video with your friends, with your family, whoever. If they're not ready, they're not ready. But just plant the seed. They'll come later in 1 month, 6 months, 12 months, 1 year, 2 years. The sooner, the better. But there'll be a triggering point, a tipping point, an angle, a perspective, something, an experience, right? People have. And then they come back. They won't admit it in your face, that it's actually it was you who planted the seed. Whatever topic that is, nutrition, whatever, bioweapon, injection, vaccine, whatever, right? Technologies, central banks, fiat money, Bitcoin, the huge rabbit hole, wow, what can we achieve? This is the root solution. Well, I mean, we could have a wonderful, beyond our imagination, lives, existence, civilization, evolution, beyond our wildest dreams and imagination comprehension. My name is Keivan Davani. I'm the host of the Keivan Davani Connection Show, or just in short, the Davani Connection Show. And please subscribe, follow me on Twitter, X, LinkedIn, Facebook, Telegram, Instagram. Keivan Davani is my name. And if you have, please, any questions, get back to me, or any suggestions, or any, I don't know, any connections you have. Please help me connect Ashton Forbes with Joe Rogan, with dark journalists, with other insiders, whistleblowers, experts, investigative journalists. Let's sit together with inventors, engineers, scientists. It's out there. It's already existing. You just can't, just because you can't, you still can't. Or we can't, most of it, you know? Most people just can't imagine it. So next time, I'm going to talk about the creation of motion in the universe. That's the next paper. So I'm going to tell you the name of this nuclear engineer, and he's a brilliant thinker. It's just the whole organization behind it. I just don't, there's a lot of people who exited the organization, but I'm confident. The one thing I'm sure of is that he, within, I think, a time span of 6 months, a long time ago, I think pretty long, a long time, let's say 10, 15 years ago, he, Meron Tavakoli Keshe, right? He developed and he understood, he always thought outside the box. He was able to connect the dots, and, he just understands it from different angles and perspectives, the technology, the science, whether it be nuclear science or plasma technology. And this is what Iran has now, amongst other countries, whatever you call it, plasma defense technology, spaceship technology, magnetic gravitational field strength defense technology, whatever you want to, but in due time, unfortunately, I think there will come a point in time, where Israel, United States, UK, whatever, the Anglo-American Zionist military industrial, warmongering, destructive satanic complex will they just want World War III. And because everything is, popping and bursting, the fiat bubble, the debt bubble, with 2.1 quadrillion US dollars, literally, with all derivatives and unfunded liabilities. So everything is coming together. Everything is culminating. So thank you again for your time, for your attention, and please spread this video, share this video, and help me connect and have a thorough, holistic, deep conversation, deep dive rabbit hole conversation with Ashton Forbes, Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, dark journalists, and so many other, whether they want to stay anonymous, pseudonymous, everything is, possible. We can still, and we can bring out these technologies independent, of all these super compartmentalized, controlling, obsessive, destructive, genocidal entities, corporations, organizations. It's beyond description. My name is Keivan Davani, and I'll see you soon again. Thank you so much.